She's irrelevant.
You said her name like 3 times already.
She's irrelevant.
I said it once.
Dash. Dot. So, I couldn't have meant that more. She is so irrelevant. I'm not even going to say her name. But we're here every Tuesday, and we talk about people just like that at 7 p.m.
I'm not going to say all Aries don't know. But
it's just the one you had. That was
just a long one, right? You know. But it's always something that you can
go ahead, so can you recollect any signs that you might like get right?
October 15th or 16th. What is that?
They're Libras.
See, I've had some good Libras and I had one really bad Libra, but he was white, so he f***ed his back anyway. So I don't.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Demonstrate. You got to demonstrate the back.
No. Ain't no way.
Not the nerd. How they bust? Boy, show how they bust.
And then want to cry afterwards. I mean, what the f is the point of the tears? I mean, I can see you shake, yeah, and shake it off real quick. But you crying? F out of here.
What was he crying for?
Cause baby, this pussy make that. You in? I got that good nasty bitch. The shade.
Oh shit.
McLean's Couch every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Right. Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to the Black Body Man Radio Show with your boy, Brother Mike. I'm your host. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. The Black Body Man Radio Show is brought to you by BlackBodyMan.com, the one-stop shop for black businesses. If you are a business owner, please place an ad on BlackBodyMan.com so that we can see your business. And it's also for consumers, to use at any time, basically the Black Craigslist. So BlackBodyMan.com. So I want to welcome everybody to the show, Black Body Man Radio Show. So let's welcome my guest, Miss Janice McCaffity. How you doing, Miss Janice?
How you doing, Brother Mike?
I'm good.
Hey, everybody.
I'm good. And we also want to welcome the first-time guest, Mr. Derek Woodson.
What's going on, brother?
Welcome to the Black Body Man Radio Show, Mr. Woodson.
Hi, Derek.
How are you?
Appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us today, man.
No doubt.
So y'all ready to have some fun today?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good topic. Today's topic, we are going to talk about 10 things that black people must do now. Now, this is not based on me. It's not based on me. This is based on what's called the Hudlin manifesto. So Reginald Hudlin is a movie director. He directed Boomerang. And then he also has a media outlet called Hudlin Entertainment. So I happened to come across his article.
Brother Mike, are you sure it's not based on you?
I'm positive.
Okay.
If it was based on me, the 10 points would be a lot harsher.
Right.
But now, so it's called the Hudlin Manifesto. And what he based this on was he remembers when he was a kid, the Black Panthers had a 10-point program, which was designed, to help people, black people in particular, do better in the community and get things on a better scale. Was we talking about that?
No, didn't a caller ask before, should we have like a list?
Yeah, I think one of them did. Yeah, I think one of them did. Yeah, so this is basically along those lines. The Black Panthers had this together. So he came up with his own list of 10 things we should do, right, as black people now, based on history and based on what's going on current day, so forth and so on. So I thought it would be appropriate for this show because this is the 10th Black Body Man Radio Show. We are 10 shows in. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us so we can make it 10 shows. So you guys got the privilege of being the guest on the 10th show.
Yeah, congratulations to you on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And bought a little present for you guys, right? So I don't know if everybody can see, but we had a sponsorship from a company called Voodoo Child, who makes gourmet hot sauces. So they complimented the Black Body Man Radio Show by giving us a sample of quite a few of their sauces here to give to the guests and to try at home. So shout out to Voodoo Child Gourmet Hot Sauces, and big up to my man Will for hooking me up with this. Will, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
black people love hot sauce, so I'm sure this is gonna work out as a pretty good gift. So I'll leave them posted right here so everybody can take a peek at them if they can see them. And then you guys can choose which ones you want to take home with you, by the end of the show. Cool?
Cool.
All right. So, again, this is the 10th Black Bonded Man radio show. And I'm very proud to know that I've made it this far, because, you got to have an audience. So it's not always, cut and dry that you're going to find people that's, willing to listen to what you got to say. So we 10 shows in. Yeah.
10 great shows.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And now we got my man, Mr. Woodson, here to join in with us.
Yes, sir.
In the conversation. So I appreciate you coming, brother.
No problem at all, man.
You know what I mean? We love to have great guests on the show. I already know a little bit about you in advance, so I know this brother got some knowledge. You know what I mean? He's gonna be a great asset to this particular show. So 10th show in, man. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Like it's been 10 shows already. It went by so quick. I remember, doing the first show and being like nervous, like, man, I never did this before. This is deep. And now I'm 10 shows in and I'm in here acting like I know what I'm doing. Don't believe it though. Don't believe it. So let's go over these, let's go over his 10 points that he thinks black people should be doing. But before we even get into it, what do you guys think about that concept of, black people, presenting, hey, here's some things we should do. Now, I give this brother credit. He lets you know that he's no type of official on anything. Yeah, this is just his take, right? This is just his take. And but I appreciated it, even though I may not agree with his view on everything. But I appreciate the fact that he even took time out to say, hey, here's 10 things I suggest that we should do. Right. And being that he is a movie director, and he actually directed Boomerang. All you old heads out there, I'm sure y'all remember Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. So, he's got some credibility, and then he's got the Hudlin manifesto, so he's already pretty known. I had talked to a couple people that I knew, and they already knew a little bit about him. So, but what do you guys think about having this type of stuff, where, we got black people making suggestions? Hey, this is what we should do. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good
to make suggestions. I mean, we have to do something.
Well, to spark conversation at a minimum. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At a minimum, to spark conversation and have us talking about something, other than the normal combos.
We might not agree with everything he has to say, but at least he's saying something.
Right. It's a start. He's giving us something to talk about, right?
Absolutely.
So when I saw the article, and then I'm thinking, okay, it's my 10th show. I want to do something dealing with 10s. His article fit the mission for the Black Bonded Man radio show, which is black business, black lives, and, black matters.
And I think those of us that's out there who want to do something, maybe this can help click our minds in a direction of maybe where we want to go.
Yes. I agree. So for everybody who's out there listening, we love to hear from you guys today. We want to get participation from the audience. You guys can call in at 410-702-5657. That's 410-702-5657. Feel free to call in and join in on the discussion as we get into these 10 things that this brother feels that black people should be doing right now, based on our current status in society, based on things that are happening. And, I thought it was great. I never heard of it before, like I'm grown, but I guess I'm not old enough where I remember the Black Panthers 10-point program. Are y'all familiar with that at all?
Not at all.
Yes, yeah, I'm not familiar with that. And and that's sad for me, because I'd like to be familiar with that, but unfortunately no one has taught me about that, and I haven't come across any research about it. But, when I did find out about it, I was like, man, this is nice, because it's about taking control.
I mean, maybe if somebody's watching today who has a little bit info about the 10-point from the Black Panther.
Right, yeah.
Maybe they can call in.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look it up. I'm sure if we do, you know what I mean? But yeah, if anybody is out there and you're familiar with it, and you come from the generation where you were used to seeing that being posted, because that's what this brother said. He grew up with seeing that posted everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, I wish we were still posting that everywhere today. You know what I mean? So, so I just thought it would be appropriate to do something dealing with 10, because it's the 10th show, So let me say that again. The 10th Black Bonded Man radio show. I'm real happy about that. We 10 shows in. I think that's the first milestone, with this show. Right. We 10 shows in. So thank you to everybody who tunes in and watches the Black Bonded Man radio show. We try to be informative about things. We try to stimulate your mind. And above all things, we try to keep it black. we do keep it black. You know, and that's to no offense to anyone else, but this is just for us to talk about, man. And, you know, we love that, you know, other races do tune in and listen, because it also serves as an education for them, because there's a lot of other races out here who have misconceptions when it comes to black people.
Absolutely.
You know, so what better way than to learn some truths than to watching, you know, actual black media station. Right. And we're going to educate them a little bit. All right, that's what's up. So let's go on and crack this puppy open for show number 10. All right. So like I said, his name is Reginald Hudlin. He created what's called the Hudlin manifesto. You know, so this brother's got 10 things that he thinks black people should start doing now. So let's get into it. Let's start with number 1. I like number 1. Number 1 thing that black people should start doing now, right, is make critical thinking our number 1 priority. I love that. Critical thinking, number 1 priority, right? So this is what he says. He says, more than ever, we have to learn how to think for ourselves and not rely on what authority figures tell us, whether it be the parents, the governments, or friends, right? Too many rely on what the church tells them or what they see on TV or read on the internet. Right. So he's saying, listen, we got to stop relying on that. You know, we living in an information age where you can look things up, kind of find out some truths yourself. Stop letting people just tell you anything without doing any research to find out about it. So talk to me, team. Critical thinking.
Funny that should be number 1. That's the biggest problem we're having right now.
Critical thinking?
Critical thinking.
I agree.
That's like a whole show. You could do a whole show
on critical thinking, right? Yeah. And I might.
Our thinking has been coached since forever. Like you said, off CNN, pastors, their parents, like the thinking just has been coached over the years.
It has.
I'm not sure how many people do critical thinking at all.
So let's get into critical thinking, you know.
That's a lot.
What do we consider critical thinking? Talk to me.
I mean, for me, you have to do a lot of studying on your own, a lot of researching on your own, just trying to come up with some solutions to some things. For me personally, critical thinking.
I think that's critical thinking.
All about educating yourself,
right,
and just getting familiar with the situation.
Okay. Mr. Woodson.
Well, basically for me, man, most of us got to think outside the box.
Okay.
You know, we've been closed in and closed-minded for so many years and boxed in this education that they've been giving us, spoon-feeding us for so many years. When nowadays you have the opportunity to utilize what is out there, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and
right.
I mean, take advantage of what's out there. You know, so.
Checks and balances, right? Checks and balances. And I think also with like one of the things with today is it's more transparency today. And what I mean is when you have people who are put in positions where, say, 25 years ago, we might have just listened to what they said and took it for face value. Absolutely. Whereas to now, we're capable of doing a little research to find out how genuine that person actually is. Right. And if they have an agenda. You get what I'm saying? So are they speaking to us just out of the necessity of teaching, or do they actually have an agenda in place? So, yes, I think critical thinking deals with all of those elements.
Yes,
you understand what I mean?
We're closed-minded on a lot of things.
We are very closed-minded.
Critical thinking will definitely start opening up some minds.
Yes. Because I was told by a teacher, and I mentioned this before on the last show, that is one of the differences with schooling today. You know, when we was in school, she explained to me, you know, you guys were taught critical thinking, which is what a kid needs, right? Mm-hmm. Today, the kids are told what to think.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't have critical thinking. Like I sit and have conversations with my son, and this just happened the other day, right? And I just explained to him how, like, when we was kids, you know, our parents couldn't afford to buy us a bike every Christmas. So when you got that bike for Christmas, that bike was you good at least for 5 years. Like, I wish you would come back next year talking about I'm 12 now and I need a new bike. They looking at you, like, what? Well, you better fix that old bike. So I was telling my son, you know, like, that's the type of stuff we did. I told him, I said, you don't even know, son. I can break a whole bike down. Right. I can take out the ball bearings. The gooseneck, I can change out everything. Right, because that's what they left us with. They said, look, I bought you that bike 2 years ago. If you broke that bike and it don't work, that's on you, brother. I suggest you get that toolkit out back and then start working with it, right? Yeah. So my son's looking at me like, wow. And I broke down to him how we had got fixing flat tires down to a science. You understand what I mean? Sticking the tube in the water. Right? Talk to me, brother. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, critical thinking. And see, and we look at that now, and like kids, they not as, you know, they not as on hands like we were back in the day.
That's because nowadays you don't have to put the bikes together anymore. They can come assembled.
Yeah, everything's coming assembled.
When you buy it from the store, they ask you like if you want it already assembled.
Right, right.
Back then, you just got the box with 1,000,000 pieces.
Right, and today I don't think they could work with that.
It's just like the thought process. Nowadays, you get a bike that's already put together. Now, when you were younger, you had actually had to put this bike together.
You got to put it together.
That basically closes your mind into learning how to do something.
Yes,
so now you're giving it something. So, okay, you take this, and this is what it is.
Right,
so now you have to run with this instead of teaching the child, this is how you put this together so you see the result as this.
Right, right. Critical thinking. I like that. Absolutely. So look, not to cut you off, Ms. Janice, but let's go to our first commercial break, and then we're going to come back and finish talking about critical thinking. Please give us a call, 410-702-567. I'm your boy, Brother Mike, with Ms. Janice McCaffity, and my man, Derek Woodson. We'll be back.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice products today.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty when he rants about his staff.
Great. Can you come on. I told you stop touching that button. Why is it so loud? God. Did you turn one all the way up again? Do I have to come in there? God damn her. If it was going right, I would let you do your part, but I'm sorry, but it's just not functioning the way it's supposed to be. I told you about your business.
Well, Monty, if I can comment on the Jennifer Holiday situation, I can.
I know I'm live on the air. I'm sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
I know I'm live on the air. This is why this whole show is called Talk Lately. Anyway, let's get back to every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Listen to Elizabeth Warren talking about Black lives and Black life.
Police are not occupying armies. This is America, not a war zone. I speak today with full knowledge that I have not personally experienced and can never truly understand the fear, the oppression, and the pain that confronts African Americans every day.
Don't you just want to kill yourself? I mean, not from what she was saying, but from the music that was playing in the background. I just want to, oh gosh, but every word she said was prolific, and it did not come from what is now becoming mainstream as white privilege. She has a sensibility about her, and the way she speaks about different things that has, from the first time I saw her, I can't remember what state she's in. I think she's in like North Carolina or something like that, somewhere I'm not going. That some kind of sensibility about her that makes me like her for president. But she's not running. We have this old guy that looks like he should be on the popcorn box. Then we have Martin O'Malley. Fine. We'll settle if we must.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Black Body Man Radio Show. I'm your host, Brother Mike. We are here with my guest, Miss Janice McCaffity, and my man, Derek Woodson. Derek, welcome to the show, man. It's your first run with us, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here, brother. You know what I mean? So in case anybody missed it, what we're going over today is 10 things that black people must do. And this is based on an article written by Reginald Hudlin, who happens to be a movie director. He actually directed the movie Boomerang. And he's got a website called Hudlin Entertainment, you know. So this brother speaks about remembering when the Black Panthers had the 10-point program. So that's kind of what he based this off. So we were talking about critical thinking. So we definitely believe that critical thinking is one of the first things we need to start implementing, not just simply being told things. Or how about this? You know, we tend to listen to people who get assigned certain positions. Right. You get what I'm saying? So when they have certain positions, we tend to think that it's truth attached to that because of their position, right? Is that always the case, though?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's probably one of the biggest reasons we should be doing some critical thinking.
Yes, I agree. I definitely agree. Go ahead.
At least if we're not, you know, going to do it often, at least if we're going to pick a leader to do our thinking for us, we should at least make sure that leader is on the same team as us.
Right. And that would be us having critical thinking.
Yeah. So, I watched the thing on with Tony Rock. I don't know if you caught it about, not to chastise know anything about the man, but he made a good statement about Steve Harvey. He said, it's not that it's not a good man, but you're going to put a man in front of us who's had 3 marriages, and he's going to give us advice about being married.
Yeah, that's true. I seen a brother speak on that. That's very true.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes no sense for him to give us advice about marriages. You in your 3rd one.
Right. You're really not in a position to tell another brother how he should be doing it.
Right. You know, he can speak from his experience.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Maybe if you come off in a perspective like, listen, brother, this is the mistakes I made.
True.
Right.
That's a different approach.
True.
I don't think that's the approach he's taking.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said, well, I'm the love doctor, and this is what it is.
Right. See, that's a problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, because we can sympathize more, you know, with somebody who said, look, man, here's the mistakes I made.
Right.
Let me tell you what I should have done and what you should consider doing.
Absolutely.
But you know, that is so fitting for what we don't recognize in this society. And the point I'm making is this. When it comes to black issues, right, things dealing with the black community, one of the things I think we're not paying attention to is that they always make our representatives somebody in sports and entertainment, okay? So let me just tell the world, like, you know, as black people, our representatives are not people from sports and entertainment. You get what I'm saying? Like when they go have a situation, say it deals with Caucasian people, right? And then they pulling people up, reporters, to get a perspective. And they say, you know, we're going to hear from Senator Do-Right. You get what I'm saying? About the situation, right? And then for the black people, it's like, well, let's talk to LeBron. Let's see what LeBron thinks. You understand what I mean? Let's see what Steve Harvey thinks. You understand what I mean? And we don't even realize that it's being put in our face that this is who they see as being our reps for leaders. Right. You understand what I mean? Every time it's a black situation, they pull up entertainers, sports players. You know what I mean? And you know what's funny? You know who actually brought that to the surface? Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle mentioned that with the 911 situation. He's like, now here 9/11 happened, and they talking to all these different white people about what's going on. And then for black people, they were like, we're here with Ja Rule. Let's see what Ja Rule feels about. Yeah, you know, so Dave was like, why do I care what Ja Rule says about what's going on? Like, you couldn't find no black people that had certain titles or positions or something like that, and we don't pay attention to that. But that's exactly what they do. They put entertainers in front of us. And like Dick Harvey and Dr. Claude Anderson always said, anybody that's in entertainment is as safe as a birth control pill. Now, that's a quote from Dr. Anderson. He's like, because these people are never going to stand on the front lines for you because they're at risk of losing what they got. See how that works? And that's why they make sure those are the ones they go to.
Absolutely.
So when we dealing with crisis situations, or like we said with Steve Harvey with the love thing, why am I listening to Steve Harvey for love advice? It's just you know, this dude then, you know, left his wife, married his mistress, and then had a mistress with that and left her and married that. Like, the story's ugly, you know what I mean? Like, it's an ugly, and I'm not judging him, but I'm just saying, I don't see him as the, I don't see him as, you know, the authority, and I picked up on the game that it's always people in entertainment.
It's because what they do is, it's like the puppet master. We know we're going to put you out front to either soothe, put the Band-Aid on the people. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to let you say only but so much, because if you do, we're going to snatch this from you.
Right. So you got to put the right people in place to do that. So when you deal with people in entertainment and sports who are receiving a check, you know you can control what they said. Versus if you got, you know, Senator Johnson, you understand what I mean, who's been fighting for District 328, right, you know what I mean, for the past 22 years, he ain't about to get up there and sugarcoat, you know what I mean, something to make you look good, So that's something to look for, black people. Remember, you know, when it comes to us, they like to put sports and entertainment peoples in front of us to give opinions on what's going on. And no disrespect to Steve or LeBron or anybody like that, but like, you know, you're a talk show host and a comedian, and you're a basketball player. So I can appreciate your opinion, but I don't see it as representing us as black people. I'm sorry.
Right. Not only that, I mean, not only that, like, what did you research or anything to back all of this up?
Exactly. Like, I actually feel bad for them because they trying to own up to their contracts. And then they didn't put on the spot, you know, like, dude, I'm a basketball player. Right. You sitting there talking to me. What do you think about race relations in America? Like, oh, wait, I just hit threes, son. You know what I'm saying?
But see, some of them, like, I seen LeBron in an interview. He talked about how he said, I feel afraid for my son in a couple of years when he goes outside, he gets in the car, he rides down the street. Some people have the same feelings and same emotions that we have, but when you're in the bottom of the pot, you know, are you going to step down there with us for a little while, or are you going to stay where you are?
Right. And you're right. LeBron has done a lot. You know what I mean? He really does. So I don't want people to think I'm, you know, saying anything negative about LeBron. I just happen to use him as an example because his name's a big name. But yeah, he did step forward and say that.
Well, there's another reason why we should be doing critical thinking now, because if you're already thinking like how you're going to feel in a couple years. About your son going to get in the car and being afraid, you're saying like in a couple years we're going to still be here. So that's why we need to be doing critical thinking now, so we can get to a point in a couple years where your son won't even have to deal with it.
Right. I think a part of that critical thinking is us recognizing that we cannot depend on the school curriculum to be the only education that our children receive. To me, that's critical thinking. You get what I'm saying? When you realize, look, my son goes to school, you know, but he also gets an education from me. You know, from his parents. We have books we get him to read, so forth and so on. So critical thinking, number 1 on the 10 things that black people need to do now, critical thinking. All right, so let's move on. Number 2, don't fight the power, be the power. Wow. Oh, let me give it to you. Let me tell you what he says. Okay, so he says black Americans have only had full rights as citizens for a short period, essentially since 1964. Even in the face of that, we have to reject victimhood, take charge, and be the boss. We helped build this country. We have access to tremendous capital and resources. Clinging to victimhood stops you from getting the things you long for because no one can give you those things. You have to take it for yourself. We are politically crucial, and there is literally nothing but our own insecurities stopping us from assuming great power. Give me your thoughts on that. Now, that's his take.
I mean, I agree with it. We've been fighting the power for how long? It is time to do something different.
I definitely agree with. I'm not interested in fighting the power. I am the power.
Right.
Black by the Man Radio Show. Brother Mike is the power.
It's definitely time to be the power.
Yes.
Like we've been fighting the power forever. It's time to try something different.
Okay. All right.
So I agree with definitely being the power.
Derek.
My thing with the power is so many of us we having the power in Atlanta, we having power in New York, we having power in DC, we having power in Baltimore, but no one tries to take the time out and be the power as a whole.
Right.
So once we come to power as a whole, then we're greater in the mass.
True.
If this person's over in Atlanta fighting Atlanta's beef, as I say, or Baltimore's beef, or New York's beef, the beef is America, period.
Right.
So we
the beef is black. You understand what I'm saying? Like the beef is black.
Right.
I mean, I agree with you because I think that is a part of divide and conquer. You know what I mean? Like you have a set of problems that's applied to a group of people. Okay, so you got black people of color dealing with certain problems.
Right.
But then when you take that and you break it up, right, and then you say, well, we got women's rights, we got gay rights, we got what else? Transgender rights. We got. What else do they break it up into? But you get what I'm saying? It gets broken up into categories when in all reality, it's all just a black thing.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And they understand that if they keep us breaking it up into, you know what I mean, sections, because like Me and this woman both black, so we both deal with oppression as being black.
Exactly.
But if she flips on to, well, I'm worried about, the rights for black women within. You get what I'm saying? As Dr. Anderson said, we know as black women that they deal with issues as well. But the black woman is not the threat to white supremacy in this country. It's the black man.
Exactly.
You understand what I mean? So even though the black woman is going to go through her issues, if her issues is a common cold, the issues of the black man is cancer.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we stick together as far as the issue, understanding the way it's being applied, which is a black thing. As a people, right? Then once we begin to conquer them, then we can break off and say, now we're going to make sure that the black women get certain rights, so forth and so on. So that's just kind of my take on it. I think they break it up. But I definitely agree that we have to be the power. Yep. You know what I mean? We got to be the power. And that's what we're attempting to do with the Black Body Man radio show. We try to educate you on these topics so you can be the power. You know what I mean? And being the power is not about trying to prevent anybody else from moving forward.
Right.
It's about trying to get us to move forward. And unfortunately, we are still in a stage where many people from different races are uncomfortable talking about black issues, even black people.
Yeah.
But not me, brother.
Me,
I'm here.
listen, me either. If you don't mind me saying, that's one of the reasons why I thank this brother for bringing me on this show, because it gave me a platform to say how I feel instead of people saying, well, I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't say that. Why not?
Right, yeah.
Especially for a greater cause, because as a people, we've been oppressed for so many years, being tight-lipped or putting our eyes down or looking the other way. It's time to stop doing that.
It's very much time, because there's always been a hidden rule, that if you're a black person, especially if you're experiencing any type of success in America, right? The white supremacy hidden rule is that you keep your mouth shut. You don't get out here and start complaining about what we doing to your people. Because if you do, then we gonna smack you around a little bit, which is essentially what they're doing to Kaepernick. Now, here's a man that's not even using words, right? He's just simply taking a knee. And by the way, for those who don't know, the advice that Kaepernick received to take a knee was given to him by a white man, given to him by a white soldier in the military. He's the one who told Cap, you should take a knee in silence because it shows respect. You protesting, but you still show him respect. But yet you got probably over 50% of white America heated with this brother because it shows the hidden rules. They don't appreciate that he is expressing himself when he makes millions of dollars. See, if Cap was broke, white America wouldn't care what he had to say. But because he makes money, see, that's that hidden rule. You getting money. You ain't supposed to be doing this. You keep your mouth shut. Your platform's too big. We're getting these people riled up. You know what I mean? We keep them where we keep them at. So that's the hidden rule, and we got to get away from that. You know what I mean? We got to get some kahunas. Get some kahunas.
We have to get some power.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to express how you feel.
I think we have the power. We've always had it as a people, but they played mind games with us and tricked us in our own way of life. As far as like, we'll give Brother Mike this, and we'll give Brother Derek this, we'll give the young lady this, and therefore we separate us.
Yes.
So therefore, that's when it basically close minds us and be like, well, I'm gonna fight Brother Mike because he got this, and I'm gonna take this from her because she has this, and it is so much chaos they put in between us and basically brutalize our minds.
Yes.
So now we're in chaos now.
Yep. That's that psychological warfare. That psychological warfare got us in a position where we're not even willing to talk, like you and I had discussed before we came in. The number one issue for black people, especially in America, is racism. It's white supremacy racism. That's our number one problem. Every black person in America, even the ones who think it's not their problem, it's still your problem. Cap probably thought it wasn't his problem.
Absolutely.
Until he reached this point. He didn't realize how deep it was. So I'm saying that if that's the number one problem that we have as black people, how can it be in the same token it happens to be the number one thing we don't want to talk about? Dun, dun, dun. You get what I'm saying? Right. It's your number one problem, but it's the one thing you don't want to talk about.
That's
so
that coaching.
Yeah. That's that psychological warfare that got you scared to speak. And I mean, I get it. There are, people got jobs and things like that. But you can't let your job have you to a point where you're scared to be you.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? When you off that job, you can be you. I understand you still are a representation depending on what your position is. But don't let the job make you be silent. You understand what I mean? Like, come on, you have a voice. Like,
I mean, as you can see, That's what the jobs do.
Yeah, that is what they do.
In the NFL, that's what they're trying to do.
That's what they're trying to do.
Let the job make them be solid.
Well,
the job trying to make them solid.
The NFL is clearly showing the black athletes that this is still the slave trade, and y'all gonna act appropriately, or y'all ain't gonna act at all.
I don't understand where it left off at. You know, at the beginning of the time, we were just runners. We
Right.
never got outside of the box of runners. We just runners.
Right.
And now we evolved in quarterbacks and wide receivers now, but the racism is still there.
Sure.
We can go. We got growth as far as like the positions, but the racism is still there no matter what.
Right. And even with those positions, they making sure that majority of, the black people who are making, I say, more than average, right? Like these type of people make, capping them, they try to limit it to just entertainers. You see, and that's always been the stigma with black people in America. As long as you're willing to do something with a ball, right? Throw it, kick it, hit it, dodge it. You understand what I mean? You do something with a ball, they cool with you, right?
Right.
Or you're going to jump out here and dance for us. So you want to pop, lock, and break, and you know what I mean? Or sing for us, or rap, see, all entertainment, right? Which we are very good at. We created it. But that happens to be the one thing that they like to keep us in that range.
Right.
And they also don't mind, as individuals, we can evolve, but as a group, like you were saying before, as a group, we're not.
Right, yeah. We definitely not as a group. And one of the things that black people, in my opinion, get confused on is that you cannot compare personal relationships with people from other races, say like white people, right? You cannot compare your personal relationship with white people to what white people do as a group to black people as a group. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we all know that all white people are not white supremacists.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all got plenty of white people we like, love, and friends with and all that. But you can't confuse that with, as a group, what they do to black people as a group. It's not necessarily the people you work with or the person you cool with or whatever. But as a group, white people continue to try to oppress black people as a group. And because black people don't understand you can't mix the personal with the whole community, that keeps them from being afraid to say something. Because if they say something about what's happening to us as a community, they fear the backlash from the white people that they have personal relationships with.
Right, and it's true, because, I mean, if you do say something, then you will get backlash.
Right.
Because, you get called out.
Right, so that shows you that America still has that stigma.
And half the time when you get called out, like you're by yourself, like you don't have no defense here.
Yeah, right, I get it.
Your group won't defend you.
Call me. I'll defend you.
Right.
So,
Brother Mike will be on the scene.
You can't say anything.
I'll piss everybody off. Black people, white people. Right. I'll make everybody mad, right? All right, so we'll move on to number 3. So number 3, he says we must embrace diversity within our people. All right, embrace diversity. He says black people always demand that white people be more tolerant of other ethnic groups, and they should embrace diversity as strength. It's good advice, but we don't take the advice for ourselves. He says black people are quick to condemn and dismiss people who don't agree with their point of view, which is a dangerous attitude to take considering we as a people are the most divided we've ever been by gender, class, education, religion, region, and that's what we was just talking about. We have issues with one another. So he says, other than Michelle Obama, there's not a goddamn thing that black people agree on. Other than Michelle Obama, he said that's the only thing we agree on, right? So, he said, listen, we want white people to be tolerant, but we have to show that tolerance with each other as well and get off, all this separation. And that's what we was just saying.
And that's why a lot of other races can't be tolerant, because we're not.
Okay.
They're watching us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm a true believer that when other races see the respect and love you have for your people, it allows them to respect and love. Right, because especially if they're being fed something different as far as society, but then they see, say Derek, and like, but he seems to love black people. That can make a white person like, let me talk to him and see, what he knows that, why? What he knows that I haven't been fed.
Instead of
talking
to the ones that's going to be, I can't take it. Like, they just... You know how it gets. I don't even want to repeat it.
So look, he says, instead of laminating the loss of cultural bonds we all share, we need to celebrate the wide range of experiences we have and build a big tent that everyone's welcome in. Okay, so we share information and resources. I mean, I agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, even with the Black by the Man radio show, of course, the theme, you know, is about us. You know what I mean? Black matters, Black lives, Black business. But it's not to isolate any other races. You know, and I feel like, you know, as another race, you shouldn't be offended by watching Black people have concerns for Black people. So, you know, if you're out there and you're from another race and it offends you to see Black people, you know, being concerned about Black people, you know, you might be a racist. You know, you might be a racist. Yeah, you might be a racist because white people taking care of white people has never offended me. It's been common nature. If it offended me, I would have had to leave this planet a long time ago because it's planet wide. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying I want us to get like that. I want us to start having a concern of taking care of ourselves. You know, so that shouldn't offend anybody, and hopefully it doesn't. Cool. What do y'all think about embracing diversity within our people?
I think we definitely need it, but I think it's a long way off.
Yeah, we got a ways to go. But he's saying, you know, have a big cultural tent that everybody's invited into. I like that. Yeah.
That could be a start.
Yeah, I like that.
We need to start somewhere.
Right, as long as the level of respect is there. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things with us that I find is that people don't like respecting Black people's culture or any of that, other than when they're stealing it. They respect it when they steal it. You know what I mean? Trying to make it their own. But what I'm saying is, if you saw, say, an Asian person dressed in, you know, what do they call it? Geisha? You know what I mean? Where they put the white.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, as a Black person, when I see that, I completely respect that. Right. That's their culture. You know what I mean? It's nice. It's like, oh, that's nice. I like that. But unfortunately, people don't feel that way with us. Right. Black man, Black woman fall out with a bunch of African gear on. People get offended. Like, what is that all about? So that shows you that society has been set it in everybody's head that nobody wants to see Black people loving each other. Not even Black people.
Even Black people.
Yeah, because the first thing you say, you put on a dashiki and you put on a nice little hat or whatever. What you pro-Black, brother?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
As if that's a bad thing, right?
What you pro-Black, all of a sudden, what you gonna fight the power?
Right, yeah.
I just like to dress. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And if you was pro-Black and wanting to fight the power, what's wrong with that?
But it shouldn't be like that. Because at the end of the day, if this is your culture, the first thing they tell us is to go back to Africa.
Right.
So I've never been there. I'm from North New Jersey. I've never been there. Been in Harford County all my life. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know anything about that culture.
Right.
But if I take something of dress to make me feel good about myself as
to have that attachment,
I should be able to wear it without being militant or without being pro-Black or I gotta fight the power. Right.
So why is it that no one wants to respect us? And I think I'll give my take. I think it's because they programmed everybody not to be that way.
And it's the brothers and sisters who say that.
Sure, that's what I'm saying.
It's not even because the individual white person, whatever, they would say, well, that's a nice dress.
Right.
How do you feel about Africa? They'll ask you questions and say, okay, how do you feel about it? Then you have this brother come up to you and say, oh, man, what you pro-Black? And laugh at you because of your style of dress.
Right. They don't see it as being empowering.
So that's how they separate us.
Yeah, there you go. There's a psychological warfare. That's definitely separation. But yeah, we believe that, you know, the love that you demonstrate within yourself will help other people to love you. You know, and that's the only way we're going to be able to beat that because everybody's been programmed not to like it. I think, I don't think you was here on the one show, but I explained how my Puerto Rican buddy, you know, he's Puerto Rican, he's from Puerto Rico, and this was actually before the hurricanes and all that. But I was telling him how, you know, I actually said to him, you know, if you had a Puerto Rican brother coming towards you, right, and he's got, you know, the Puerto Rican flag on his shirt and wristbands and he rocking Boricua music and all that, how does that make you feel? And he was like, I feel good. He was like, you know, that's my brother. He representing. I said, well, with Black people, it's the exact opposite. You know, if Black people see a brother coming with a Malcolm X shirt on and the red, the black, the green, they like, oh, man, here come Brother X. Let me go and get up out of here, man. I'm going to holler at y'all. And see, and he didn't know that. You know what I mean? As a Puerto Rican from Puerto Rico, he did not know. He was like, what? I said, oh, yeah, they run from that. They scared to death. I said, now, we the only people like that. All the other races, whatever's their culture, they see people doing their, you know, Aboriginal culture, they like it.
I have a point to make on that because most people who come in from these different places, if you come from Puerto Rico and China, their culture, they're coming from this place. We were took in a
we didn't get to bring ours with us.
We didn't get a chance to be able to say, okay, this is my heritage. I'm going to hold fast to this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now as it's been stripped from us, like I said before, I'm claiming North New Jersey. Not one time I've said anything about my African heritage I don't know about.
Right, yeah, they definitely stripped us of that. And we did eventually create a Black American culture.
Absolutely.
You understand what I mean? So that's what we have. But I do think it's nice that we, have certain people that do try to reach back and try to trace, a little bit of where we come from. And if not, just even relate to it, like you said, through the clothing and feeling like you're wearing something of your land. You get what I'm saying? Because Black people are the only people in the United States of America who are not immigrants. Not only are we not immigrants because there was a large percentage of us that were already here in America, but we're not immigrants because we were held hostage and brought here. See, that's a prisoner. An immigrant comes on his own accord. So an immigrant can come here and bring his culture. When you talk to people, they can tell you how, I'm Irish. My great-great-grandfather came to Ellis Island in New York. His name is in the books where he signed in. See, that's an immigrant.
Right.
We are not immigrants because we were captured and brought here. We are hostages who have been freed, sort of, in their land of captivity. That's not an immigrant. So everybody here is an immigrant except us. We are not immigrants. We are either aboriginal to the land or we are prisoners that was brought over here. Because at the end of the day, after being free, we wasn't given a ticket back to Africa. We're still here, okay? Which means what? You still in your land of captivity. So if you still in your land of captivity, right, still being run by the people who captured you, you should not be that shocked when they treat you like a prisoner of war. That's what you are.
Well said, bro. Well said. Listen,
always something to learn.
Right?
Black Body Man Radio.
I'm just saying, welcome to the Black Body Man Radio Show.
Favorite word, no rebuttal.
You know what I'm saying? No rebuttal. Let's keep it moving.
Right.
All right, number 4. He says, think about systematic change. Instead of focusing on redesigning the system that creates massive inequality, people like to focus on smaller, incremental ways to make a difference. Tutoring young people, feeding the homeless, and other totally worthless causes that don't threaten the powers to be. So he's saying we focusing on tiny stuff. You understand what I mean? When we should be focusing on systematic change. What do you think we could do that would be considered systematic change? Anybody?
That's a vast platform.
Black Body Man Radio Show.
Me personally, I'd like to fight the politics of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The politics dictate our actions. Like right now, this president we have right now, he is making a wave of terror going through right now. So therefore, once we can basically try to educate the mind of people of the politics and try to get them to open up their minds and see what is hurting us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then we can really find the bigger problem and stuff like that. Because these politics, man, is
I think politics is a good way to go about systematic change. I think we have to, as far as politics, we have to get our candidates in there.
True.
Problem is, we ain't really got no candidates.
It's not that we don't have it. It's like you said, when we first came in, people are so afraid to be them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And step outside the box. And if I seen an older gentleman as you, and I would say, well, this man has a good head on his shoulders. He knows what he's talking about, and he's not afraid.
Right.
To run right behind you, brother.
Right.
And push you forward.
Right.
But no one's trying to step outside that box and say, you know what, I had enough.
Yeah. I think with our political candidates, they've made it taboo for a politician to want to do something specifically for Black people. Now, everybody else can do that.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Not that I've seen a lot of Asian politicians. Food for thought. I'll run y'all down that rabbit hole another day, right? I'll say it again. You don't see a lot of Asian politicians, but yet they run their game, right? But that's another subject. But
even if we find somebody that's strong enough who even want to lead and take this on, even once they get a hold of them, they still put them in their pocket.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said we really don't have candidates, because they are controlling the way the candidate has to operate. We need a candidate that's not going to be afraid to say, of course I want to do things overall, but as a Black person and knowing what my people suffer from, I also have a focus on doing things for black people. Now, they have no problem with other candidates saying that. They'll let an Asian candidate get up there and say that, I'm fighting for Asian rights. I want to make sure my Asian people this and that. They'll have, a Spanish person, like, I'm fighting for, Spanish rights. You know what I mean? They're taking my people out the country. But for some reason, don't you dare be black and get up there and say, I'm fighting for black. Even black people be like, oh, come on, man. You understand what I'm saying? See, so that's a problem. So that's what I mean when I say, we don't have candidates, because none of our candidates are bold enough to say, I want to make things better, but I also want to make focus on making things better for my people. And they got us scared to say that.
Definitely, but the only thing I say is that we go back to critical thinking as well. And we have to understand, again, the box, we have to think outside of it. Just because one brother gets shot down, there should be another brother ready to run right behind him.
Right.
Like the scenario I just said for you. If you're running, I'm running behind you, meaning if you fall, I'm with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the problem, because one person falls, we just give up. Okay,
right,
man.
Yeah, right.
You know, this brother couldn't do it. Like, for instance, Barack Obama, he is a president. I salute that man. He was one of the best presidents we had.
Right.
But his hands were tied.
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean? He could delegate.
Right.
He could say what he wanted at a certain extent, but he couldn't be out there and say, okay, get the people to do this and that, because his hands were tied.
Right. Exactly. So they're not going to let you make it to that far.
Yeah, you know.
If you seem to have a focus on wanting to, help your people out. But I do think that systematic change is an approach that we need to do. And I think that plays into his second point of don't fight the power, be the power.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, we got to go for systematic change. And I don't have the end of all means answer, for the systematic change. But I know politics is definitely one route. You know what I mean? If we can get politicians who are willing to say, yeah, I want to fix the budget. You know what I mean? I want the county that I'm, repping for to do better. But I also want to make things better for black people. You know what I mean? But they've made it taboo, for a black person to say that. So a lot of candidates who are even willing to do that won't, because they feel it's going to shave their votes.
True.
You understand what I mean? Like, he might be like, I want to, but bro, if I do that, I'm even going to lose black votes, which is insane. You understand what I mean? That's absolutely insane. But any thoughts on systematic change, Miss Janice?
It's just too difficult of a task for me to even. I don't know. It's just a very difficult task.
Well, he says.
I just don't even see how we even get it started. It's just difficult.
I definitely don't have a plan for it. But it does have to happen. I think it's a good point to make, thinking about systematic change.
I mean, of course it needs to happen, but the question is, like...
He says they've undermined our country's laws. They've shifted the wealth of the nation into their pockets. Yes. And he said, so if we don't look at the big picture and start talking and being ambitious to make plans to correct it, the worst possible outcomes are still yet to come.
But we need to start talking as groups and not individuals.
Well, as far as the vote, right? And voting's a tricky subject, you know what I mean? Because I understand everybody's point of view. I understand the point of view of people who say I don't vote, right? I get it. As much as other people like to get mad and say, that's the problem, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, voting ain't never been the goddamn problem. If you think that the United States of America, under this regime of white supremacy, and the biggest thing that we could have done was vote to solve it, then you're being foolish. You understand what I mean? You're being foolish. But I'm not saying, discount the vote. But I understand both perspectives. I understand those who want to vote. I understand those who say, no, I don't participate in it because it ain't never gotten us nowhere. The reality is that's a true statement. You understand what I mean? It didn't get us nowhere. But I think, like, if we are going to vote, I think we should develop a strategy where we vote as a whole. Right. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, even on a lower level, guy running for city council, right? And it's a brother and we like what he's talking about. None of us should vote unless we all gonna vote for him. You get what I'm saying? Right. That's how you get them in there. You don't get them in there by having our votes being split all over the place. We got to start talking with each other and then make a decision. Is this our guy? And if we all say, yes, this is our guy, collective vote, then we need to have 5,000 of us show up at the polls and vote for him and get him in there. And unfortunately, we don't do that. And for whatever reason that I just can't even fathom, but we still believe voting for people that don't look like us is somehow going to benefit us, and it never has. If I'm wrong, call in right now, 410-702-5657. If I'm wrong, call in right now. Prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to hear this. You know, prove me wrong. So anyway, so we just went over the first four.
So do you even think it'll ever get to the point where we can even do
I'm
that?
optimistic. I'm optimistic. I think platforms like this help to stimulate thought. And, you know, we'll see what it leads to. But I think we definitely have to start at a lower level. You get what I'm saying? Start on local voting levels and start implementing our plan to vote as a whole. And then I think that could grow into something else. Definitely. But we'll see. But we're going to go to commercial break. Black by the Man radio show. Stay tuned only at BeExposedRadio.com. We'll be back. Yeah, I think we have to, you know, start on that lower level. You know, start at the low level and then, you know, work our way up. Eric, we good?
It just looked like we just...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
Focus on the word take for a moment.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I mean, when I begin to just, you know, think about take, when you taking something. Yes, you know, we think about, you know, the possession and grab and hold, but when you taking something on, you're capturing it, you're securing it, and you become impregnated with that.
Wow.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange radio show.
So you're your biggest asset. You have to practice self-care. Every entrepreneur has to practice self-care. You have to release yourself from toxic situations.
Explain to us real quick, what is a toxic situation?
A toxic situation is something that will control your mind, something that hurts you, something that you have to battle. You know, toxic, you know, hurt. If you're in a toxic situation, if you get hurt, if you get pain, if you get struggle, right? And if your spirit does not align correctly, that may be a toxic situation. So when I say you make that jump when your values don't align, you make decisions based on your values. And if those decisions don't align with your values, then that's when you say no.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Remember
every
going around to
Saturday,
Tyler Perry
12 p.m.
and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem? Ooh. You said if I don't have your money, there was going to be a problem. So Oprah is standing her ground like, bitch, I'm in charge. You know, you may have a $250 million studio over there that you film all your shows and movies and stuff on, but I have the empire. That's what Oprah said.
Oh, these are her exact words. Allegedly.
I made this up. But
allegedly.
I made it all up. But there was a rumor that they were beefing. But Tyler confirms that they don't have any issues. So it says it was recently reported on the rumors that was swirling that the twosome were on the outs over constructive criticism over Perry's show. Well, I got some constructive criticism, and we can be on the outs, Tyler, and I don't give a damn, because I'm gonna make a promo out of this anyway and share it to your page. I need the scenes on have and have-nots to be like 5% shorter, each one. I want you to watch an episode of The Young and the Restless, because this is supposed to be a soap opera. No one's dialogue on The Young and the Restless is like this. You don't have to talk about the random plant in the corner for 25 minutes on one damn scene.
They talk about random plants.
It was a blood stain on the floor for 5 episodes. I can't take it. We need to pick this up. I'm sorry. I love the Have and the Have-Nots, and I continue to watch it in its 5th season, but I get so mad when I can go get myself a glass of water and come back, and he had just started the next sentence in his first paragraph. I can't stand it.
They just want to get the point across.
It's not but you don't get the point for 4 episodes. It's too much. So, now according to ET Online reports, Tyler Perry has a pre-cut and dried response to, a pretty cut and dry response to the rumors about him and Oprah. Here's what he says. It's completely false.
What was that? That was your Tyler Perry impression? Oh, God. What?
That was my Medea voice.
Oh, gotcha.
Nothing is accurate in this article except for mine and Oprah's names. That's what he said. I mean, you see what I mean? You gotta stick around. I mean, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. I mean, they pay us to do this, so we go off every week right here on BeExposedRadio.com. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Talk Lately is back on May 17th at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com. Oh, okay, yeah. Also on YouTube. I know the rate is killing. Why would you see me recording? Oh my God. You a hard-headed oh. Yo.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Are you getting your kids this hoverboard thing that's taking over the country? They range from $300 to $600. They're blowing up. And then, I mean, literally blowing up. That one video, I thought that was going to be the one and only video that I saw in reference to it, and it wasn't. Now I could probably tell you about 10 to 15 videos of this happening where this battery gets super, super hot and burns like holes into your tennis shoes.
Oh my.
And I know you would be pissed if you was wearing Jordans and you just paid all that money, you know, your lights are off. And
especially if they're from China.
Your lights off.
Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
So you're your biggest asset. Mm-hmm. You have to practice self-care. Every entrepreneur has to practice self-care. You have to release yourself from toxic situations.
Explain to us real quick, what is a toxic situation?
A toxic situation is something that will control your mind, something that hurts you, something that you have to battle, you know, toxic, you know, hurt. If you're in a toxic situation, if you get hurt, if you get pain, if you get struggle, right? And if your spirit does not align correctly, that may be a toxic situation. So when I say you make that jump when your values don't align, you make decisions based on your values. And if those decisions don't align with your values, then that's when you say no.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on BeExposedRadio.com.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monty from Talk Lately. I want y'all to sit back and listen to this flashback. We be tripping.
I mean, really, but I mean, he might have. I got him maybe jacking her up.
The kids said he did it.
But this is Floyd Mayweather punching her head repeatedly, and like she doesn't have like brain damage.
No, she didn't have brain damage. I don't think he was hitting her like that. Or he probably was like, say something else. Say something else.
That
he probably wasn't like tagging her.
Right.
He probably was just like, and the kids was like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Right?
Nervous, man, coming in.
It's all good, brother. We're going to have you on more than once. All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome back to the Black Body Man Radio Show. I'm your host, Brother Mike. In case you guys missed it earlier, I want to give another shout out to our sponsor today, which is Voodoo Chili. If you guys can see these are gourmet hot sauces that they gave to us to give out samples for the people at the Black Body Man Radio Show. So both of you guys will get several samples of these gourmet hot sauces. And, man, they got some really good ones, too, man. Psychotropic, which is like a tropical flavor type hot sauce. Then they got Everdream, which is a mango habanero. Yeah, they got some good ones, man. This one right here is blood orange ale. So this is made with blood orange. You know what I mean? If you guys can see that. So again, shout out to Voodoo Child Gourmet Chili Sauces and my man Well, I appreciate the support, man. I thank you for sponsoring us by giving us some gifts to give away on our 10th show, because again, this is the 10th Black Body Man Radio Show, and I'm very happy about that. We made it 10 shows in, so we want to thank everybody.
One more special detail about the hot sauces: they're craft beer.
Yeah, yes,
hot sauces.
yes. They make them with beer and everything. Yeah, I'm not even a big hot sauce guy, but I want to try some of these.
I am.
Yeah, I want to try. So you'd be real pleased with a couple of these, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'd be real pleased. Let me see this one right here, Butt Time. Have you seen that one? So I believe Will told me this is the hottest one right here. So this one's got ghost pepper in it.
I think I'm going to pass on that.
Enter at your own risk.
Right, I'm going to pass on
Voodoo
that.
Child Gourmet hot sauces, y'all. All right, so let's keep it moving. I'm going to go ahead and start reading some of these comments. So we got a comment from my man Nate here. So Nate says, we tie our own hands. We can't keep putting all our hope in a single person to make change while we sit back and watch them struggle to do so and then hold them accountable. They have power because we are lazy and ignorant to unity and support. And voting is the first step, not the only step. So he's saying we're being ignorant towards unity and support.
Right.
Mr. Woodson, talk to me.
The most important thing is when you're dealing with us as a people, man, we were basically designed to be ignorant. We were designed to become feeble-minded because they knew as a people that we can basically be greater. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes with a lot of us, we tend to forget that, and we tend to start pointing fingers at individuals or different sects or different places. Say, well, he's ignorant, or he does not know, or he's this, he's that. And instead of doing that, if it takes one person to take on a platform for us to understand what it is, don't just stop with him. If you see him doing a good job at something, stand next to him.
Right.
So it becomes one person becomes two, two becomes four, four becomes six, six becomes eight.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So therefore you have more than one person because you're making something seen. Now, okay, this brother in, we'll say New York, stood out for black people getting killed in the middle of the street. Okay, now we got a brother down in Baltimore. We got a brother down there in North Carolina. Okay, these three individual brothers come together and make one trip from New York to Baltimore to North Carolina to make everyone follow suit.
Okay.
So when we follow suit, then it be like, again, before the numbers don't lie. 6 comes 12, 12 becomes 24, 36, and so on and so forth. So the most important thing about us as a people, stop labeling us as ignorant.
Okay.
We just don't know about certain situations. So as a person on a platform, enlighten us and base, okay, this is what it is, this is what we should do, this is how it should be. And then we'll be a better people who are smarter and more intelligent.
Okay, all right. I like that comment, brother.
Communication.
Yeah. Communication. Yeah, I think he was referring to the ignorant in regards to unity and support.
Right. Yes, definitely.
But he did say that we are lazy. Do you guys think we're lazy?
I think when a lot of other different races say we're lazy, I think they're saying we're lazy in that aspect as well. As far as the unity and support goes. I don't think they're saying we're lazy as in anything else. I believe they're saying we're lazy as far as unity and support.
Okay.
Because we don't have a lot of unity or support for one another.
Okay, all right. Let's go with that for 2000. Chuck, I'm going to go with lack of unity and support for 2000. Yeah, right? No doubt. Okay, so let's move on to his next one here. So number 5, he says, we must invest in the digital future, right? Okay, he says the digital world keeps creating billionaires in business that didn't even exist 10 years ago. Tech firms don't care if you have a prison record or if you can write code. It's the best wealth creation program we could launch. We can raise our long-term unemployment into working or middle-class status. It can create super wealthy entrepreneurs that blow out the athletes and the entertainments that dominate the top of the black wealth chart.
I mean,
Digital future.
Yeah, I personally don't think we. I don't think we get educated enough, especially on our STEM programs, as far as with the digital future.
I'm definitely not familiar with the digital future. I like what he's saying, though. He's basically, at least my take on it, is basically he's saying here's an untapped field by black people.
Right. It is.
Yeah, black people not tapping into, the digital future.
And when we first start to learn about it, it's like, I think the STEM programs come up in high school. I think if we can get them in middle school and start getting, kids to learn about them earlier, then we'll be more.
STEM programs.
Like the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that acronym.
Okay.
That's what STEM stands for, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Nice.
Right.
Love the Black Body Man radio show. I'm over here learning myself. Yeah.
I'm like STEM.
I'm thinking of cells.
Right.
Like, damn, can I get something new?
Well, that's where,
Yeah. I wasn't familiar with that. Yeah. So that's I like that. Nice. So that's what STEM stands for. Okay. Yeah, again, I'm not familiar with the digital world that much, but I do believe in what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like, it's an untapped market by us. And he's like, look, these people are becoming billionaires in less than 10 years. Overnight.
They're not going to care about your background when it comes to those codes.
Right.
Like, they won't.
So with this being number 5 on his 10-point program, I think that would be good something to implement, and start guiding our children. Yeah. Maybe in that direction. So they can open up these tech firms.
Programs. They have the STEM courses in high school.
And
we just don't know enough about them to, like you said, guide our kids into.
Yeah, because I didn't.
They're
I didn't know
not
nothing
easy
about
courses
that.
either. They're a little difficult, but it's worth it.
Challenge is good. Yeah, challenge is definitely good.
Definitely.
I really like how he said, tech firms don't care if you have a prison record, if you can write code. Who cares if you got a prison record?
Right.
Because when it comes to writing code, you need some people that got a certain background, because all codes ain't written in your benefit.
Right.
You understand me? It's called a virus.
Right.
You understand me? So that's probably some cats that got technical skills and don't mind, like, hey, I'll write that virus, brother. I've been doing illegal stuff forever.
Right.
Let's get it.
Get paid for it.
Right. Especially if they sat down for a while, right? And then, study tech while they were going, right? Because that's possible, right?
My son just did a game app. The whole game was nothing but codes.
Okay.
Strictly just codes.
Okay, well, go ahead and look in the camera and give him your son's app name so we can big up Freddie.
Treasure Rack.
Okay.
The game. Download it. It's not on iPhone yet, so only if you have Androids.
Well, that's the best phone anyway.
Hey, no disrespect to iPhone, right? No disrespect to
Apple
iPhone.
ain't paying me nothing. I don't like no iPhone.
But it's Treasure Rack by Frederick Hill.
All right. Treasure Rack by Frederick Hill. Check that app out. Can they find it at Google Play?
Yes.
All right. There you go. You can find it at Google Play. So that's a app created by a young black entrepreneur. Young man creating apps. All right. That's what I'm talking about. We got to get into that. That's what's up. Derek, you know anything about Digital Future?
I have the slightest idea.
Yeah, that was a new one on me. Like, I know it exists.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
you know, we know Nintendos and stuff.
Right,
like
yeah.
games, you know, as far as we go
on that, digital, I got a phone.
Right, that's it.
But yeah, that's definitely something we should look into. He says there's another huge advantage in getting a large part of the black population into technology. It changes the way you think. You see the world differently. You solve problems differently. And we need that as much as we need money. Okay.
Definitely. That's a good one right there.
And I believe that he's correct on that, because it would change the way you think. Because anything you throw yourself into, if it deals with the world, you're going to start seeing different perspectives.
See the world differently.
Right. You're going to see the world differently. So I like that. He's definitely thinking ahead on that one and solve problems. Because I know anything dealing with digital, you're going to have to be a problem solver.
Absolutely.
You understand what I mean? Like, I do know that much as a part of it.
Right.
So I can see how that could play an effect in your everyday life when your job is solving problems, even though it's digital problems. But that'll definitely spark some critical thinking in you, going back to number one, right? We back to critical thinking.
Right.
You know what I mean? You become a problem solver, because I've always felt like in life, and I teach this to my son when he asks me when I'm trying to figure something out, I'm troubleshooting. I'm troubleshooting life. You know what I mean? Same way you troubleshoot a car. Troubleshoot when the bike is broke. You know what I mean? Like, I'm troubleshooting life when I come across situations and trying to figure out solutions.
And
you know what I mean?
It opens doors for more jobs for our kids in the future.
More jobs and more companies.
More companies.
You understand what I mean? Yeah, because
small businesses and stuff like that.
Right, because that's a type of trade. And I do know that part of, and I had an older black man tell me this. He was like, a part of the psychological warfare that they did on you was that they convinced us to get away from our trades. You know, he was like, now black people see the future as just having a collegiate education. They don't see trades the way we used to. He was like, and when we understood trades, barbers, mechanics, plumbers, you understand what I mean? He was like, that set us up in a better position to be business owners. See, he was like, you know, I'm not knocking you having a master's degree or anything. He's like, but it's designed for you to be an employee, you know, forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might make some good money. So he's saying all of us can't be just wanting to be employees all the time. Some of us got to, you know, take on these trades and then get something popping off the trade. You know what I mean? Open your business up. So, and when he told me that, I thought about it like, yeah, when I was young, like, trades were kind of out there. You know what I mean? I mean, you had schools like Lincoln Tech. You understand what I mean? Test technology. And I know they went under, but point being, trades were still being looked at as being a very honorable position in society, whereas now it's not so much. You get what I'm saying? It's not so much at all. So, yeah, the trade thing, that's a good thing to look into. So, invest in the digital future. So, we all wholeheartedly agree on that one, huh?
Yes,
All right. Number 5 is invest in digital future. So we're going to take another commercial break. Stay tuned with us. We'll come back and we'll continue with number 6, Black by the Man Radio Show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. See you in a few.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, you know, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, you know, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. Like, I've learned I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids, and when you got a wife, and then you doing everything, and you know you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place you, like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
That is a nice commercial.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on Be Exposed Radio. BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
I'll let you speak on it. You know it better than I do.
All right, thank you, Nate. So the Say It Loud Film Festival is happening on April 16th, which is next Saturday from noon to 10 p.m. at nighttime. And we have partnered up with the No Boundaries Coalition. So I got to tell you the address real quick. It's 1947 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is where the Jubilee Arts Center is located. So we've partnered up with the No Boundaries Coalition, and the No Boundaries Coalition hosts an annual block party right there where we're going to be having the film festival. This is the 9th annual Boundary Block Party, and they are providing shuttle buses to take people to the voting booths because the Maryland primaries open on that same April 16th date that we're having the film festival and the block party. So we're going to be partnering up and promoting each other, and there's going to be these shuttle buses taking people to the voting booths to go vote, and we're going to have live music, live poetry, live dancing from a local high school, and then the films start at 7 p.m. at nighttime. So that's basically what's going on for the Say It Loud Film Festival in West Baltimore.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m.
Even as a comedian, if I say a joke and it just might not fit your cup of tea, but it's mine, that's what a comedian is supposed to do.
But people forget
everybody's not going to find your jokes funny. They better find mine funny.
But they forget that, though. They really forget that. They forget that but it's your view. That's why they didn't fire her.
Yeah.
Because her viewpoint is controversial.
Her view. That's the view she sees.
Right.
Everybody is clear to her.
Like they did their reaction to.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right. We back. Welcome to the Black Body Man Radio Show, y'all. We back. All right, y'all. So we're going to continue with these 10 points. For anybody who has missed the intro of the show, this is our 10th show at the Black Body Man Radio Show. So we decided to do something that involves 10. So I found a great article called the Hudlin Manifesto, written by Reginald Hudlin. He happens to be a movie director. He directed Boomerang. So big up to Reginald. And so he's come up with 10 things that black people must do now. So we're going over these 10 things. And as I stated earlier, he admits he's not the authority on making these 10 things. This is just simply his take. And I felt that it fits the show because the show is about black business, black lives, black matters, where we offer facts, perspectives, and opinions. So this is his perspective. And we damn sure enough gonna give our opinion. So let's keep it moving. All right, now, y'all ready for a little heat? Number 6, demand more return on church investment. All right, let me read what he got here. Brother says, the Christian church is one of our most enduring institutions, but it is a double-edged sword. It was built by slave masters to justify slavery to the victims, but also produce people like Nat Turner. It takes from many just to enrich a few. Liquor stores and churches are usually the only two open businesses in black neighborhoods, but often they serve up different versions of the same product, a soothing balm to make your troubles tolerable. So he's saying the church is the same as a liquor store, right? He said what we need is church that transforms the people, gives them tools that they need to make themselves better. All right, we getting into the Christian church a little bit. So, what y'all think? Demand more return on the church.
There are Christian churches that do that. They do. I've seen Christian churches get involved as far as communities as sending people to school.
Well, let me interject right here, right?
Please.
Because I think he's not getting that specifics. Okay. I think what he's saying is overall, the church community receives a lot of money from the black community.
Right.
And when you look at what the church community has done overall for the black community, it's nothing there.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump on this one, right?
Go on, get in it, brother.
Basically saying that if you walk into a liquor store, you're paying $5 to $10 to $15, $25 a day for sake of argument. Now you're going to paying your church tithes on Sundays. What benefit are you getting?
Right, he's saying they both serve the same purpose, which is just to make you feel good. The liquor gonna make you feel good, and then the service gonna make you feel good.
Exactly.
But both of them took your money.
It's just common sense.
Both of them took your money, bro.
Everybody so much of like disrespectful. It is made a common analogy. Like, look, if this liquor store is taking your money, and this church is taking your money, so therefore, say for instance, the liquor store will take, every Friday we're gonna have a barbecue and get out there and feed the kids, and we're gonna do this, and therefore that money you invested into that liquor store had a purpose.
Right.
Same thing with the church. If you're investing this money every Sunday, you're paying your tithes and whatever you have you, and then they have these Sunday worships, they have these Wednesday talks, but they're not really having it. You come every Sunday,
right?
Spending your rent money, spending your gas electric money, and you're believing in this situation to where you're going to get something back and you get nothing.
Yeah, I think he's focusing on that because he says demand more return on church investment. So he's saying this is an actual investment where you're actually investing money. And you need to demand more of a return because they're not returning to you anything from your money. Even the liquor store will give you a beer for your money. You know what I'm telling me? A bottle of liquor. He's saying the church is not even giving you that. They just giving you some feel good.
Because they so some of these churches, not all churches are like this, but some of these churches are so far gone into the line. I remember seeing a guy on BET years ago, and he said, they said, well, you have a plane and you have a Rolls Royce. He said, well, Reverend Run has one.
Right.
But not knowing that Reverend Run was a rapper.
Right.
And he has partial share with Def Jam and with his brother Russell Simmons. That money was earned on a different
Definitely didn't come from his church.
So therefore, you took this money from the people and you bought your plane, you bought your home. And there's this old lady, and I'm just saying in general, who lives in there by herself. Husband died 10 years ago. She got one cat. Another one she's looking for. For sake of argument.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She's taking her last dollar.
Right.
And she's giving it up because she believes that this will come back to her tenfold.
Right.
And these are the people that I have a problem with who are really putting their heart and soul into this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they're asking not for so much as their money back, but their money that you said it will come back tenfold.
Well, that goes back to the first one with the critical thinking. Then you're going to have to start thinking for yourself, like you're saying, you can't listen to the pastor and what he thinks all the time.
I think he's looking at it strictly from a business perspective, right? Which is appropriate. As much as people may not want that to be appropriate, to say you shouldn't look at church from a business perspective. No, yes, you should. It is a business. You need to check their tax status.
Right.
It's a 503c corporation, 501c corporation, right? So that's a business. That's why they don't have to pay taxes. Exactly. So he's saying you're investing into this business with tithing and all that stuff, and they're not giving you a good return. So he's saying you need to demand more on the return. Like, have the church... Like, look, y'all need to do something. We're not going to keep showing up every Sunday giving you tens of thousands of dollars, and then we don't see any improvement in the community. And I think that's his big thing.
I get it. It's a way of holding them accountable.
Like black communities are saturated with black churches, but yet the community never goes up. You know what I mean? The community seems to never benefit.
But the church get bigger.
Yeah, church get bigger. Community doesn't really benefit.
To be clear, because who I am, people are trying to shoot down my argument because who I am and my religion. But it's not about. I've been to church coming up from a young boy to to a certain time. But at the end of the day is what is right and what is wrong is wrong.
Right.
We're not going to make this a religion thing. We're going to make this about what he says.
Exactly.
He says basically due process. If I give you the X amount of money, I should be able to see that. It should be a fun where if this young lady says, well, I got these 3 children, my lights got turned off. I should be able to come in and depend on you for help.
Because I invested in you for 10 years.
Absolutely. You should not turn me away. You'll turn me away, become Sunday, send that plate around.
Right.
Makes no sense.
Turn you away or give you that $30. We can give you $30.
Yeah, man.
Like, man, my bill $1,200.
Right, it's heartbreaking,
We give you $30. So, yeah, just so people are clear, we are not knocking the Christian church.
Not at all.
We're just simply telling you what this man is saying, which is that we should demand more on our church investment. He's saying we're putting a lot into these churches, and all they're giving you is, some feel good, and you shouldn't keep dumping your money into something just to get some feel good, because if it was any other business, you would have pulled your money out of that business after the first year with no return.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Right, I get it. They're saying like, oh, they building daycare centers in your neighborhood or playgrounds for the children in the neighborhood. Like, are the churches doing anything that's beneficial to you?
Right. The Christian church, being that 2/3 of Black Americans are Christians, it is a focal point. You know what I mean? So like the Christian church is definitely a spot where you can communicate with Black people.
Right.
Because there's so many of us showing up every Sunday, and I think he's pointing that out. Like, they're not communicating with you on a level to make you feel like you are investing in something that's going to give you a return. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you can pray at home. You know what I mean? Your relationship with the Most High is not based on no building. So you got to look at it as an investment. That's what it is. The people run the church, they understand it's a business. That's why they got, a business support area in the back. People running the books, people counting the money. And so, I mean, it's a business. That's why they don't pay taxes. It's a, what's it, 5013C corporation, I believe it is, or 5031C, something like that. But it basically means we don't pay no taxes. And that's a whole nother story as to how they got there. There's a reason why they don't pay no taxes. See, if your message is the message that the powers that be want you to communicate, then you can have a tax-free business. Now, if you jump out there with a message that might be more familiar with my faith or your faith, you might not get tax-free on that. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Might not be tax-free. But yeah, so I agree with that. Demand more return on our church investment. He's like liquor stores and churches. That's all we deal with. Yeah, so I agree with that. That's what's up. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go on to number 7.
We should be on number 8.
No, it doesn't work that way. Anyway.
Wasn't number 7 demand more return on our church?
No.
Okay.
Can we move forward? Thank you. I'm the host here. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
I'll deal with this. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, number 7. You can't just have, create a multiracial strategy. Okay, so he says you can't have a black and white conversation about in the 21st century when a nation of Latinos, Asians are too often overlooked, and Native Americans. As black people, we need to form coalitions with other folks, even though many look down on us. But within each group, there are people who respect our knowledge base when it comes to dealing with other people, such as white people. Yes, even though we are frustrated with where we are as a people, there are others with all good-thinking people of all races, including white folks, that will help you battle white supremacy. You know, now I believe that. You know what I mean? I believe there are white people who are sick of white supremacy and want to participate and help, and so as Latinos and Asians. What do y'all think about that? Create a multiracial strategy. How you feel?
I go with, see, in all reality, we all are different, like Latinos, blacks, Asians, certain people, we're put in the category as minorities.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we're putting this category together, why not work together?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the design, again, and certainly I'm going to use California, for example. You got these black neighborhoods, Latino neighborhoods, Mexican. They're still the same exact thing. They separate us to cause division.
Right.
So therefore, I think that'll be a good idea for us to come together as a whole.
Right.
For the same goal.
Yeah, I agree with it. I like how he points out, though, that everybody ain't gonna want to join us. You get what I'm saying? Which I don't have a problem with that at all. But I do believe that a multiracial strategy is needed because everybody gets money from us. You get what I'm saying? So they're enacting a multiracial strategy because a white business doesn't survive by just white money. An Asian business does not survive on just Asian money. So it's the same with us. Our businesses need to be free for everybody to get involved with. Which, by the way, the blackbytheman.com is for everybody. It's just going to show you how to find these minority businesses. Right. But it's for everybody to use. And even the Black by the Man radio show, like other races tune into this show because it helps to educate them on our perspective. They don't get our perspective. The only perspective they are fed is the perspective through the mainstream media, right, which is not our perspective. Not only is it not our perspective, it's actually a false perspective to make us look a certain way. So, yeah, multicultural, I'm with. He says that doesn't mean we abandon black institutions. We need them more than ever. And that, to me, is a very important statement because black people tend to think that if you want multicultural or whatever, then that means you giving up on black people. You get what I'm saying? And that's not it at all. We just recognizing that, you know, everybody has to do business with everybody. You get what I'm saying? You got to do business with everybody. BlackByTheMan.com, we want to do business with everybody. Black by the Man radio show, we want an audience that deals with everybody. We want everybody to be educated, because ignorance is a part that fuels racism. So when you have white people, Asian people, Mexican people, whoever, being taught information about black people that didn't come from black people, and their perspective is being shaped by people who don't even like black people, they don't have the real deal. You get what I'm saying? Right. So that's how you continue to produce ignorance, because they're shaping the view. Same way you can shape the view, like what's going on right now with the Trump thing. He's trying to shape people's view on Mexican people. That's what he's attempting to do. He's trying to shape people's views on the LGBT community. He's trying to shape people's views on black people. And so if you don't have platforms to clear up the misconceptions, then the ignorance sets in. You get what I'm saying? Then you have people walking around really believing the hype of what they saw on the mainstream media.
Right.
Miss Janice, what do you think about multiracial strategy?
I think all dollars matter. So.
All dollars definitely matter. But I think he's pointing out not even just for the dollars, just for the sake of building communicable relationships. You get what I'm saying? Even if you ain't, you know, technically in business with them, but just to know.
I think the end game eventually, yes, but I think we still need to focus on building more communicable relationships with us first. I mean, but I get what he's saying.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with that.
And Asians and
yeah,
everything else.
Right.
Eventually, you know, we can get there, but
now,
beginning for now.
I'll tell you the part that I don't agree with. When he says at the very beginning, you can't just have a black and white conversation in the 21st century. Because it's a nation of Latinos, Asians, and Native Americans. Now that I disagree with, because Latinos, Asians, and Native Americans have not had the same experience as black people. Okay? They weren't slaves. They weren't over here. They weren't enslaved. They weren't raped. They weren't murdered. They weren't impregnated. You understand what I mean? The whole nine. So I believe you can have a black and white conversation. The black and white conversation has to happen because that popped off before any of them got over here. That was already in the mix. So now that they're here, we can't just be like, oh, we just can't focus on us no more. No, yeah, we can, because they focusing on them. you don't see no Latinos and Asians and Native Americans out here talking about, but what about the black people? You know what I mean? We need to focus on the black people. No, they don't do that. You get what I'm saying? They focus on themselves.
A lot of our issues keep getting lost because we keep focusing on everything else. We need
yeah.
Focus on our things first. And
but that's their job, to blind us from our own shortcomings. That's
their
job. That's what they do. They'll tell us, okay, but don't look at the black and white situation because, you know what I'm saying, we have other other people that go through the same poverty. First and foremost, I haven't seen, in the last 6-7 months, I've seen black men get shot down in the middle of the street, getting beat up and raped and robbed. And so I haven't seen a Latino, no disrespect to no one.
Sure, yeah, that's my whole point. That's what I whole point.
We have to be blunt in this situation. Say, look, man, there's no disrespect to this race.
Right.
It's not about that.
You don't go through what we go through.
We gotta stick to the same course. Like, look, man, I am tired of these black men getting killed in the middle of the streets. And sometimes we gotta go out there and say, look, this is what it is, and this is what we're gonna do.
Right. Exactly.
Have that conversation where it's understood.
Right, because we gotta be concerned about us before we can worry about anybody else.
Absolutely.
That's been the hat trick the whole time. That's the whole purpose of being labeled a minority. See, after slavery, there were things set in place for us so we could have a fair shot at prospering, right?
Right.
Because of the stigma during that time period, nobody wanted to see us prosper, right? So they put things in place for us so we could have a fair shot. Well, once they did that, the way that they took that away from us is they took it from being a black thing, which it should have been because we were the slaves, right? We were the ones who went through it. When they switched it over to a minority thing, see, it was no longer just about us. So now you including, you know, everybody who comes to this country, which, you know, black people, we don't have no issue with those people, but you should not be able to share in the benefits of something that was designed for my people because of what we went through, and you just got here yesterday. So you just got here yesterday, and now you get the benefit of affirmative action. Affirmative action was written for us because we were the ones not being hired. We were the ones not given a fair chance. So why do you get to arrive yesterday and then you can go to a job and say, well, affirmative action, you have to hire me? Dog, that wasn't designed for you. You understand what I mean? But once you switch it in to a minority status, now you including women, Asians, Mexicans, whoever else. And so black people haven't benefited from it. Now, as a business owner, I deal with the MBE, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, right? So we just word minority again, right? So when I first got involved with it, I'm thinking, okay, this is great. The MBE sets government contracts specifically to the side for supposedly black people, right? So a certain percentage, because they weren't giving us none of them. So this had to be implemented to make sure we got some. All right, so once that was implemented, they attached the word minority to it. See, so now it's no longer about black people. So when you check with the MBE, and you'll see that this was created for black people to be able to receive contracts. 70% of the contracts go to white women. Okay, another 25% goes to Asians and Latinos. Black people actually literally get less than 9% of the MBE government contracts that was put together for us to get them. And we still don't get them. So that's the whole trick on minority. See, he labeled it minority. Now his wife can get it. You get what I'm saying? Who is his counterpart? Got as much money as he, but she gets to go apply and get that contract and say, I'm a minority because I'm a woman. I'm a white woman, so I'm a minority. So that's the Jedi mind trick. You see, so that minority thing has been a trick the whole time. And when you study people like Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Anderson suggests that we get away from labeling ourselves that way. He said because they're grouping you in with other people who did not go through what you went through. Nobody groups the Jews with anybody else relative to the Holocaust. The Jews got things because of the Holocaust. And they did not switch it up and say, well, it's not a Jew thing, it's a minority thing. Because they knew that would include everybody else. They kept it a Jewish thing. But with black people, they invented this new word called minority, which, by the way, is an invented word. Okay, it's not even real. But when, it's not even real. But when you control the books and you control the language and you control what gets put out there, hey, you can make up a term called Bugs Bunny. Right. You understand what I mean? Right, and it's gonna stick. You can say he's suffering from Bugs Bunny. Well, what is that? Oh man, it's a bad disease that you get. You know, he giggles all the time like Elmer Fudd. You know what I'm saying? It's the Bugs Bunny disease. So that whole minority thing, it's very, very tricky. But we'll keep it moving though. All right, now this one, number 8, I didn't really have that clarity on that I needed, but he says stop selling for short money. Stop settling for short money. Only thing he mentioned was that we sell our musical heritage and we vote for people who will betray us. So he sees that as settling for short money. You know, like we're not trying to get, my take on it was that we just want to work in the company. We're not trying to own the company. Right. And he's saying that's short money. Everybody can't go after short money. It's always going to be a percentage of us that's just going to work. But we got to have a percentage that says, you know, I'm trying to own the company. As they said, Rosa Parks, you know, wanted to ride in a certain seat on the bus, but then the generation that came after her said, no, we want to own the bus.
Yeah, I seen a thing, I think it was Chris Rock. He was saying, you know, Shaq got money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He said, but the owner got Shaq's money. Right. You see what I'm saying? So instead of us, like I watch Shaquille O'Neal, like he's a very good investor. People fail to realize he's a very good investor. Mm-hmm. And he invests his money all the way around the board. And basically selling for short money, what I'm gathering from it is, like, don't just stop at 100,000. And if you make 100,000, 300,000. Right. You know what I mean? Don't settle just for, oh, I made it. I got $50,000. I've never seen this before. I'm fine. But as time goes up, you grow with that money. Right. So before you know it, you down 10, you down to 40, you down to 30, you down to 20. Before you know it, back down to pinch of pennies. Right, right. So he said we settling for short money.
So I guess when he say we vote, I guess when we vote, maybe we vote somebody where we see, okay, well they have 1 or 2 things they said they're gonna do. That's on, you know, my list. Maybe we stop doing that.
Yeah, he said we got to stop voting for people who betray us.
We don't have to vote for that person because they have a couple things. on our list. There's always an independent.
What he reminded me of when he said that, stop voting for people who would betray us. He reminds me of Dr. Anderson, because Dr. Anderson speaks on that. And Dr. Anderson's like, don't vote for anybody who's scared to say they're going to do something for black people. If that politician is not bold enough to stand in front of the world and say, listen, I got things that I need to do for my people, as well as for this whole county or this whole city or whatever. He's like, if they not willing to stand there and declare that, don't vote for them. He said, because they already telling you up front they're not doing nothing for you when you get in there. They're not doing nothing for you. So it's people who will betray us in, his eyes. That's what I got from it. Voting. What y'all get from it? Voting for people who will betray us.
Well, basically, what I'm saying, most of the people come with a gimmick anyway.
Right.
A lot of us, we got our horse blinders on. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And then before you know it, about the time we really get a chance to take them off, he's...
Right.
100 miles and running.
100 miles and running. It's like they tell you something good, and then once they get in there, it's like, oh, well, they won't let me do that.
Even with the Trump situation, you got a lot of people, they're so focused on racism, they're not even paying attention to how he got put in office.
Right.
Make America great. Now you're talking about building a wall. What the wall got to do with making America great? That's the wall.
Yeah.
What about the poverty? What do I give people money back into or stuff like that? Yeah, now he's focused on a wall, and y'all forgot about all these caps you had, T-shirts, make America great. What do you make it great? Worried about a wall.
Yeah, you know what he wanted to make great.
Yeah.
Trump followed a well-to-do old plan. That's how he became president.
Watch it now, brother.
So if you do the research, now this is the Black by the Man radio show. We don't watch nothing around here. Yeah, if you check his pattern, right? Now you'll find that pattern was already done in a very good book called "The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews," written by Farrakhan. Now, let me tell you what's so clever about this book. Farrakhan made sure that in that book he didn't use none of his words. That whole book is consistent of parts taken from books written by Jewish people. So none of it's his words. So in that book, you will see that a strategy that the Jews did when they got here was that they knew they were going to face racism, right? Because Jews get discriminated against, right? They came to the southern region of the United States where racism was the highest. But when they got here, they saw that the Anglo-Saxons or Europeans that were already here had such a hate for black people and such a focus on hating black people that they said to themselves, if we pretend that we agree with them, that we don't like the black people, it'll keep us off the radar. You understand what I mean? So that's what they did. And in the process, they implemented their banking practices. So that Jewish guy might have started off as just being a merchant in a certain neighborhood where the neighborhood knew, go down to Finkelstein, he'll loan you some money, so forth and so on. So once he gets that reputation developed, then he moves for a higher status. Now he's going to be mayor. Well, he's already got a background, right? They know him. He's loaning people money. And then part of his campaign, he's going to say, listen, if you vote for me, I'll make sure the blacks don't get this. I'll make sure the Mexicans don't get that, right? White people came out in droves and voted for him. So the Jews continued that process until they worked themselves so deep into the American fabric that they now own America. And the whole time, those campaigns were being run on racism, even though a lot of them really didn't even feel that way towards black people. But in order to get the vote of these white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, they knew they had to feed them hatred. So I'm saying fast forward with Trump. I truly believe that the higher ups told him, listen, you want to be president? Do like we did. Go out there and run a campaign on hatred. Tell them you hate black people. Tell them you hate Mexicans. And then watch white America love you, embrace you, vote for you. That's what he did. That's why he's president. You understand what I'm saying? This is a country filled with hatred. If you run a campaign on hatred, you can win. You can win. So the path that he took was a path that was already tried and true and proven. You understand what I mean? And that's one of them books that's a gem. So if you ever get a chance, check out Nation of Islam, Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. Whole book is their book. And Farrakhan stands strong and tells you, I didn't write one word in that book. That book is all excerpts from their books. So whatever problem you have with it, you take it up with them. That's deep, brother.
I think I seen him the other day.
Yeah.
He had the book out. He
That's
in
deep.
the White House.
Yeah, I've had that book for a couple years. It's deep, man. It's deep. So when I saw what Trump was doing, that's how I knew he was going to be president, because I'd already read people who took this path. And hatred sells in America. America can feed you a bunch of bullshit all they want about apple pie and patriotism and all that. Nothing gets Americans more pumped up than hatred for other people. So if you come off on that type of timing in America, oh, you can get somewhere. You can get somewhere. They come out in droves and vote for you. But I digress. All right, so let's move on. All right, number 9. He says, reconnect with nature, right? Black people are unhealthy as hell. That's what he says. We're too fat. We have terrible dietary habits. We don't go to the doctor enough. We don't work out. And we have mad stress on us all the time. Getting healthy doesn't have to start with a health club. It starts with getting sun so your body has vitamin D and your mood is better because you're outside. And yes, being in the sun will give you a tan. So if you're a black person that don't want to get darker, he says let go of the self-hate. That's what he says, right? He said take a walk among the trees and breathe in some fresh air. For people who were once connected with nature, you know, living a agrarian lifestyle, we have embraced concrete and closed spaces and crappy fast food. He said move your life back to something close to nature as possible. It will improve your attitude and your mental and physical health. So what do you guys think about getting back to nature?
Well, I definitely think.
I mean, vacations, you know.
I definitely think we need to get back to our health. Our health kind of went on the last page.
Well, that's what he's saying. Getting back to nature will help. You know, you get the sun on you, you get vitamin D in your skin. And clear, I think he's saying, you know, to clear your mind.
I was going to say, and being in better shape, it's going to help you think better and be more focused.
Right.
The more healthy you are.
I think he's got a valid point. I mean you know, we got African roots.
You will be more focused. I don't know. Back to nature.
Derek.
I mean, you know, like you just said, you know, you can step out, do vacations, you know, get the family one day, step outside the box, go to a little resort or something like that. Or just go to, like, I love downtown,
Right, yeah, I was about to say, or hit the park.
You hit the park,
yeah.
You know, you got the swings out there for the kids.
Right.
You have an older kid out there with the younger ones. You can take your significant other or whatever it may be, walk the boardwalk, whatever it have.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I kind of get a little upset with is dealing with the concrete. When a person, that's all they know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Going outside to them is standing on the stoop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, moms don't feel like cooking tonight. Burger King right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not that we don't want to eat better. We're just a product of our environment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because of course we love to have organic foods in the household. We love to have fresh vegetables and fruits. Of course we want to have. But sometimes, you know, a packet of chicken, man, legs and thighs is all you got in there. You
got to work with it.
Right.
Got to raid the cabinets a little bit, right? I like how he says it'll improve your attitude. I think that's true. Because, like, who goes to, say, like, the park, like you was mentioning, right, and sits down there and enjoys the air and then leaves mad? You know what I'm saying?
Crazy
like,
person.
Right, a crazy person, right? So that definitely helps. Especially, you know, like where we from, we got those areas, you know, up off Lapidem, and you go back towards the Susquehanna Park.
Right.
Like, I go back there from time to time, you know what I mean, just to, you know, get away and breathe in a little bit of fresh air, and I think it does clear your mind.
It'll be something you have to do consistently then. Because, I mean, it's something you do for a day, then 3 days later you be back to your same old.
I mean, that may be true, but I think just doing it, period, still helps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You change your diet, it makes you feel better about yourself. You know what I mean? Move better, feel better.
Oh, I can testify to that because I'm a vegetarian and I've already lost about 16 pounds. You know what I mean?
Well, this hot sauce I'm about to take home, I can't.
Yeah,
put
go and throw it on your meat, brother.
Right.
Go and throw it on your meat.
I can't throw it on no lettuce.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can dig it.
I'm just saying.
Hey, brother, you know I boil it anyway, right? I don't know if I'm gonna be a vegetarian forever. You know what I mean? But for now, you know that's what I am, and it definitely has, you know, made everything better. You know, everything from weight to blood pressure to cholesterol. To everything. Like, I feel better, you know, and I feel lighter. So for now, that's my path. So I definitely know that food plays a major part. And we had a couple shows where we talked about food and the role that it plays in your life. You know, a lot of things are attached to food that we don't know of.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like I always tell people, you know, like we been conditioned to believe that every time you get sick, a little cold or whatever, we think, oh, you know, I must have got some germs off a little kid, somebody sneezed. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it was that bacon sandwich you had that morning. You understand what I mean? You know, yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes it was that chicken. You know, these things got organisms in it. Right. You know, microorganisms and bacteria. So I have noticed that since being a vegetarian, even things like allergies are like cut back big time. You get what I'm saying? Like your body just goes into a healthier state. Right. So I'm not trying to tell nobody to be a vegetarian. I'm just simply telling you my story. And man, I love it, man. I love it. I want to be alive. I want to feel good. You know, I'll be 45 years old at the end of this month. Big up to me, big 4-5, right? Right. And you know, I want to continue to evolve, you know, and get healthier and healthier. Go ahead. You were gonna say something?
No.
No? Okay. How you feel about food choices?
I mean, I definitely feel like the food is.
Because he mentioned fast food. Crappy fast food is what he called it, right?
I mean, a lot of people grab fast food. I mean, when you're a busy person on the go, like.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point of it. It's convenient.
You know, be a great option for some people.
Yeah.
But it's not the best one.
No, it's not. It's definitely killing us.
We can, but you can pick healthier food. Even if you go up to the drive-thru, you can pick something healthier than that burger.
It's nothing healthy at McDonald's.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's nothing healthy.
I don't think that's real salad. No disrespect to McDonald's now. You know what I mean? No disrespect.
He said that shit ain't real.
I'm gonna go even further. They have a strawberry banana smoothie.
Processed.
Yeah. Cow milk. Cow milk, son. Right. That cow milk. That ain't no good.
You know what I mean?
That ain't no good, man.
I don't think nothing in McDonald's is actually real.
Right, right.
You know, you can. I tell people, it's a little slogan I say, you can put a whole bunch of trimmings on hot dogs. At the end of the day, it's still a hot dog.
It's still a hot dog.
Still a hot dog.
All right, so let's hit number 10, man. We're getting short on time. So this is number 10, and I really like this one. So number 10, this is how we ending it. If God is love, then love God. I said, okay, all right. So I'll tell you what he says. He says, love is underrated. We as a people put a lot more emphasis on hardness and toughness than love. We think most behavior problems with children can be solved with a good ass whipping. We love to see black men and women fight on reality shows, and we sneer at anyone who appears to be soft. Given that we have lived in a constant state of siege since arriving to America in chains, that warrior survival mentality makes sense, right? But the problem with only focusing on surviving is that it can keep you from thriving. Sometimes success means taking risks. A child needs unconditional love along with a firm hand. Long-lasting relationships can't survive under transactional terms. Thoughts? That was deep, right?
I don't know what it's talking about. You need a platform on
that was deep, yeah. I mean, I definitely like how, you know, he's saying we can't, all of us can't be hard and tough.
Right.
Because that is a mentality that we do have.
Right.
And he's saying, so we got to embrace those who don't come off that way and just give them love. You understand what I mean? Just love them for being who they are, and then recognize that the answer to children's behavior problems isn't always an ass whipping. That's debatable.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying? To be continued, right? That's debatable.
Yeah.
And he talks about how we love to see black men and women fight, like on reality shows.
It's because we're so far gone in entertainment wise. Don't understand that that's somebody's mother being beaten and disrespected and whooped on and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's entertainment because it's all they put on TV nowadays.
Right, yeah, exactly. So you kind of at odds with it. You know, like I find myself watching Love and Hip Hop. I don't, know what time it comes on. I don't set the DVR. But when I go past it, I stop and I watch it. And as much as I'm disappointed in some of the things I see, it's still entertaining. So you're right. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, so we do get caught up in that. And I, for one, I don't like seeing the women on there fighting. Because unfortunately, when you look at those shows, I don't know if it's being done by design through editing or if this is just how it's really coming off. But it seems like the black women tend to do more fighting than the men.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's definitely not a good representation of our black queens because those women on them television shows, they do not represent black women in general. They don't. Right. I don't think the average black woman has that type of mentality, especially if you give her millions of dollars. Right. You know, like these are millionaires that are on there fighting like they Shaniqua and Day mom round the corner. You understand what I mean? It's like, what are y'all mad at, man? Y'all millionaires, y'all on television, and y'all still beefing over some he said, she said? Like, it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy. So I definitely agree with that. But yeah, so I think with the if God is love, then love God. I think he's trying to get us to look at behavior and say, whatever your faith is with God, do you think he would approve of your behavior?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
The love you have for so many names, the Most High, and
right.
so forth and so on. The love you have, this is a better analogy for it. The love that you expect from him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You should give that same love.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Because, we always reaching out to God and say, if you can do this for me this one time, I will do this. So if you want that energy and that love and that respect from him, give it to the neighbor.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Well, that's what's up. Let me check with my man, Eric. Eric, we almost out? Okay, we got 30 seconds, man. So look, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Black by the Man radio show. It's been another exciting episode. I want to thank my guest, Miss Janice McCaffity, my man, Derek Woodson. And appreciate y'all hanging in there with us. Hopefully, these 10 things, stimulated some thought with you guys, man, because it stimulated some with us, and we enjoyed having this conversation. So as usual, thank you for tuning in to the Black by the Man radio show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. Y'all already know I'll catch y'all on the flip side, black side. Peace.
Hey everybody, this is your girl, the one and only Vic Cows.